Hey everybody, this is George. Before we get into this week's episode, I wanted to give you an update. This episode was recorded before, but is being released after the birth of Buke's daughter. So I wanted to send out a congratulations to Buke and his wife Stephanie, and to let you know that for the next couple of weeks, Buke's probably going to be adjusting to fatherhood, but I have some plans in mind to keep things rolling, if you will. So bear with me, and I'm sure before long, Buke will be back and things will be back to normal. All right, so let's get into this week's episode. Hello, and welcome back to the latest episode of MetalDisciple.com's Metalheads podcast. My name is George.
And I'm Buke.
And we are continuing Baby Watch this week.
Yes, Baby Watch still goes on. Nothing yet.
No babies.
My wife's miserable. She's in a lot of pain. She's, had a couple of tears because, the baby's on different parts, causing her aches and pains and stuff like that. I'm totally helpless to make it go away, but here we are. We still watch.
And she's there going, "You did this to me!"
It could happen. That's the part that gets me. It could happen 5 seconds from now. It could happen 5 days, 5 hours.
She getting an epidural? And is she going to use an epidural?
Yeah, she will.
Whatever.
An epidural?
Epidural.
Yeah, she will. To put it like her, she's not like one of those hippie girls who is into the water birthing and all that stuff. She says, hey, if they're offering it to her,
cool,
she's going to use it.
So she'll be like chill. She'll be like, hey, baby's coming out. Check it out. What's going on down there? Tell me what's going on.
She's like, baby's coming out. And not even feeling a thing. Yep. So whatever's offered to her, she'll be taken.
All right. Well, I'm 24 hours on call. You let me know when it's happening.
So if you guys hear the mics drop, that's why. Because, my phone just went off and we're going to the hospital.
Yep. Well, if that happens, we'll probably just stop and start over.
Or we can pick it up live from the hospital.
Yeah. Live from birthing 2014.
Live next to the bed.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, so GWARBQ tickets went on sale this week, and
yep.
I'm proud to say that we picked up a pair.
We did.
I wish we could have picked up a pair on a year when Dave Brockie was going to be there, but, it'll still be pretty cool.
It'll be interesting to see the memorials and how they're going to do it.
Yeah, flaming odorous.
Mm-hmm. And be interesting to see the bands or the personalities that are coming through there.
Yeah, I mean, Revocation's going to be there, Occultist.
I'm sure, of course, maybe a couple radio stations or these metal websites that we follow, or some press and stuff will be there this year.
Who else is going to be there? Iron Reagan.
You already mentioned Revocation and
Body Count, of course.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting.
And you mentioned it yesterday to me in a message. You have to assume that Randy or some of the
Lamb of God,
some of the close Richmond area bands.
Yeah, you'd think the Richmond scene would be representing. I mean, Iron Reagan's going to be there, so that's at least some of Municipal Waste.
Yeah.
When I picked up our tickets, I also purchased a Dave Brockie memorial t-shirt. $20 or $25? I think it was $20 plus $5 shipping. And this money goes to the Dave Brockie Memorial Fund. It funds art in various styles, music, and probably painting and photography or whatever, all the arts. So I recommend, even if you're not going to the show, you should go to the GWARBQ site, pick up a Dave Brockie memorial t-shirt.
This is kind of similar to the Mitch shirts when he died. Suicide Silence.
Pretty much, yeah. I got one of those too.
Yeah.
This one, it's got a picture of Dave. It looks like he's got the odorous suit on, but the head's not on, so you can see his face and his hair's all mussed up, and it says Dave Brocky, and then, the years he was alive underneath.
Still tragic news again that we talked about last week about his passing.
Indeed. Let's get into a couple news stories. So I'm sure you've seen that cop killer in Canada who they've been talking about, and how he's a heavy metal fan, and they've been referencing Megadeth lyrics.
Yeah, I saw that this coward, was out there, killed 3 Royal Canadian officers, shot a couple.
Yeah.
When stuff like this happens, the media is real quick to try and find a scapegoat. Hey, it's because of video games. It's because of metal. This has happened numerous times whenever these mass shootings or something happen.
Of course.
It's just tragic that they have to try and put it on metal because he's had quoted some lyrics in the past, instead of just saying what this is, that this guy's just some fucking psychopath
Who just flipped.
That's it.
What burns my ass so much is that they quote lyrics in their news stories, and then they twist them, and they're completely out of context for the song. They're like, oh, well, if we read it this way, it sounds like he should be doing that. Yeah, the song was Hook and Mouth.
Yeah, it was Hook and Mouth, yeah.
So the lyrics that they've been quoting, one line is, a little man with a big eraser, changing history. And they seem to imply that the shooter is the little man with his big eraser gun, and he's changing everybody's history. No, if you read the whole song, this has to do with like McCarthy era type government Big Brother kind of stuff. The little man with the big eraser is some pencil neck guy in a room somewhere who's changing the laws or your rights and taking away our freedoms, basically. Has nothing to do with going out and killing anybody.
You put anything under a microscope like that, you put the biggest thing and you take it down to that smallest level, you could infer the meaning for anything from anything. You look at one quick 30-second snippet of a video game. You can twist and turn any video game to fit your news story any way you want. Mm-hmm. Just like they can take any lyrics that he may have posted here to fit
whatever they want,
whatever actions this coward's doing. And it's sad that instead of more or less focusing on the horrendous actions of this guy and, the loss of those officers' lives, that they have to try and make a story out of what his motivation was.
Right.
Whenever these mass shootings and mass killings and stuff happen, I have never understood the media's
joy in glorifying.
I once saw something on YouTube. It was a psychiatrist or something who came on, and he said, how we can stop these shootings and stuff like that? Whenever they happen, let the small town news media, wherever it happened, let them cover it and let it just end there. Don't give them this huge stage. Exactly. Where it's covered around the world. It's breaking news. It's headline news for the next 3, 4, 5 days, weeks, so on and on. And it's just sad again that, these poor officers' lives were taken. This spirals into our music also being attacked again.
One of the other lines that they quote out of context is the line, make a person disappear and no one will ever miss you. They make that sound like, oh, this guy with the gun's going to go out and make people disappear. This is actually the second line of a 2-line stanza. The first line is altering the facts and figures, events and every issue, make a person disappear and no one will ever miss you. This is talking about the government covering things up, the government making people disappear without any sort of due process. The song itself was inspired by something from the 80s that you probably were too young to remember, the Parents Music Resource Center, the PMRC. This was Tipper Gore and a bunch of other senators' wives.
Was this when Dee Snider came out?
Yes, this was the whole music labeling issue, the offensive and obscene music, and they wanted to put stickers on albums, which they did, ultimately. And people like Dee Snider, Frank Zappa, John Denver went in front of Senate or Congress or whoever it was and rallied for freedom of speech and music. And so this is Dave's response, because this song came out maybe a year or two after the PMRC hearings. And the chorus of the song, they frequently mention the chorus in these articles as well. They say that the chorus is the lyrics form in the word freedom, but they don't say what the lyrics are. And those lyrics, if I may quote, F is for fighting, R is for red. Ancestors' blood in battle they've shed. E we elect them, E we eject them. In the land of the free and the home of the brave. D for your dying, O your overture, M they will cover your grave and manure. This spells our freedom. It means nothing to me, as long as there's a PMRC. This is obviously a song about having your rights trampled upon.
Obviously.
Has nothing to do with going out and killing people. So, to the media that is making a big circus out of this, trying to blame Megadeth, or even just blame the guy that he was crazy and listened to these lyrics and that made him do it, go fuck yourself. This is ridiculous. It's bullshit. I'm tired of this. We've been dealing with this shit for 20, 30 years, ever since the Ozzy Osbourne suicide case, the Judas Priest suicide case. Fuck you people. I've had enough. Moving on. So this past week, the Led Zeppelin first 3 reissues came out. Led Zeppelin 1, Led Zeppelin 2, and Led Zeppelin 3. As we were discussing before we started the podcast, I just picked up those 3 today on vinyl.
Were there any remastering done?
Yes.
There was.
Yes, it's remastered on 180-gram vinyl. I unfortunately did not shell out the arm and leg that it would cost to get the deluxe editions, but still pretty cool.
I tell you what, they are going to sound amazing.
Yeah, are you going to get these?
I still need Led Zeppelin 2. After I get the original of that, I may go back and try and get the remastered ones. Owning a couple of the 180-gram vinyls, you can really... It's a fuller sound, too. Even more fuller than normal vinyl is.
Yeah, I can't wait to crack these open and have a go at them.
They're really nice. It's nice because, a lot of Led Zeppelin vinyls have really been around the block.
Oh, yes. Yes, I've passed on a few just because I'm like, yeah. In fact, I think I might actually have a Led Zeppelin 1 that's just like beat to shit.
My Led Zeppelin 1 looks like... a basement got flooded.
Yeah.
It was in the smoker's house.
Mm-hmm. Oh, God, I hate it when there's smoker ones.
So, mine's had a couple of spins.
Yes.
So, but you have to have it, though.
Of course.
So, it'd be nice to get the remaster, the one that you really play.
Sure.
So,
acid bath, or rather the lack of acid bath, was in the news this week. Apparently, I think it was the drummer, Jimmy, had been telling people that they were going to try and get a singer and put together a new acid bath album. And Sammy, now in Goatwhore, was like, bullshit, that's not happening. There will never be any new acid bath music because when their bass player died, acid bath died. Also, their singer, Dax Riggs, just completely left the metal scene. He's doing some sort of acoustic, folky thing. He's got a great voice, so it probably works well for him, but he's not going to be coming back. Sammy did say that he would consider doing an acid bath cover band where they would maybe do a couple of shows and play some of the old acid bath songs, but they'd have to get a new singer. So who knows if that's going to happen, but...
Question about that, because you were the one who turned me on to acid bath. To me, they've always kind of, after getting turned on to them, becoming a fan of them, they've always kind of struck me as, at least me, now correct me if I'm wrong, kind of like in American Sentenced. Like we talked about a couple weeks ago. That band that's kind of there, but it's kind of obscure. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, I mean, part of the reason they're obscure is that they broke up right when, their bass player died and they were just starting to take off. So most of the people, myself included, didn't hear about them until after they were gone. So
do you think they could have made something of themselves if they would have?
Oh, definitely. I mean, they're definitely, they'd be right alongside Down and Crowbar and I Hate God and, that part of that whole scene. And I'm sure they would have done well.
Interesting. If you guys haven't checked out Acid Bath, As the Kite Strings Pop and Pagan Terrorist Tactics.
Great material.
Yeah, great stuff. Really, again, it's just like George just said, it's a lot of, sludgy Southern rock.
Yep.
So really just
clean vocals, harsh vocals, good stuff. And of course, if you like Goatwhore, then, well, Sammy's in Goatwhore now, and this is where he came from, so you should check that out, too.
I totally forgot that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, Goatwhore, that's one of the other bands that's going to be at GWARBQ.
That's right. Did you see that vinyl today, the Goatwhore vinyl?
I think
record.
Yeah, but I already have it. This next item, I'm not sure whether to be proud or offended. Carl's Jr. has a commercial featuring Dio's Eat Your Heart Out, featuring the text Meet Your Heart Out. and there's like a woman taking a bite out of a burger, and they're playing the Dio song. And I'm like, is it cool that Dio is in this mainstream commercial being exposed to all these people? Or is it bad because Dio's gone and he's being whored out for a sandwich? I don't know. What do you think?
First off, the slogan, it's bad.
It is.
It's horrible. But if there are possibilities out there that somebody could hear it, maybe be like,
I think if it would have been cool if the commercial itself had been a little more metal themed, like if the woman that was eating the burger was all like teased hair and, fishnets and mini skirt, and she was all like banging her head and eating the burger. That would have been at least funny. This was a little more like a Led Zeppelin car commercial. It was just like, I don't know. Or, the Twisted Sister, we're not going to take it in every other commercial.
So while we're talking about that, I'm trying to get this to come up here because it's funny that we're quickly do a tirade about food, fast food. It's totally off topic, but did you see the new McDonald's Happy Meal mascot?
I saw some sort of headline about it, and I like passed through by some picture.
I'm going to show you this. This is the new, if you haven't seen this, guys, as we quickly talk about fast food thing, go online and just do a search for the new McDonald's Happy Meal mascot. This thing will haunt your dreams for years to come, George.
Oh my.
That's what it gets.
It looks like some sort of demented Microsoft Office icon.
Like
the little paperclip guy.
Yes. So just to give yourself a quick laugh and nightmare at the same time, just do a search for the new McDonald's Happy Meal mascot.
Looks like he's saying, "Put your hand deep inside me and pull something out and then eat me." That's horrible.
That is so.
I understand why people are making fun of it.
You know
now.
what? I'm not a Photoshop guy, but I can make something better than that.
Yeah.
In 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And a multi-billion-dollar company. That's what they're going for their logo.
All right, then. While we're talking about food, I wanted to mention that yesterday I was at Franklin Liquors in Frederick, Maryland, and I found 2 bottles of the Trooper Ale. I picked it up. I have not yet had the opportunity to taste it yet. Somebody on Facebook told me that the label was cool, but the beer wasn't that good.
Yeah, it's not good.
Really?
It's really not good. Now, I have the one bottle that I got, months or so back.
And you drank it?
No.
Well, then how do you know?
Because I was at somewhere in Pittsburgh, and one of the people at the bar was having it. And he said, "Hey, you want a little taste of this?"
Oh.
Gave me a little sip.
But now, is it like just bland?
It's English ale.
I like English ale.
Yeah, it's kind of like a Newcastle.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just nothing. It's super
just not
special.
hoity-toity enough for you.
No.
Mister, I need super stout with vanilla caramel.
Now, my question for you is, if I have one bottle and it's hard to find, do I open that bottle? Because I want to keep it as I won't say it's a collector's item.
Well,
but is it better to display it full or empty?
That's why you buy 2. I bought 2 so that I could drink one and save the other. I'm going to save both.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, I wanted to keep one that had it in there. I'm sure it would, beer doesn't age quite as well as like wine does. So at some point it would become undrinkable, but it would still be cool to have a full bottle. So I bought one to drink. I bought one to save. So maybe if you can find another one, you can, obviously you don't seem to like it. So what's the point of,
good point.
If you're not going to like it, why open it?
Yeah. So did you see that this past week it made some headlines that Metallica played Saint Anger, the song?
You mentioned it to me. I hadn't read anything.
On their current tour that they're doing right now, Metallica is doing something. I don't know if they're on tour, because I know a lot of the summer they play these, festivals overseas.
Sure.
It's Metallica by request.
Okay.
They are allowing you, the fans, before going to the show, you go on some website and you vote for the songs that they're going to play that next show.
Okay.
It surprised me, and apparently it surprised
the band.
The band and some of the internet as well, because the fans, for some reason, voted Saint Anger.
Now, you mean the song?
The song.
The song itself. Okay, well, in terms of songs off the Saint Anger album, if I had to choose one that I wanted to hear, it probably would be Saint Anger.
Yeah.
But given Metallica's, I want to say vast, but relatively well-stocked catalog, I can't say that would be one I would pick.
Yeah, so now they did speed it up a little bit. Mm-hmm. They did cut out a part to make it, Not bad.
I've actually heard some live versions of some of the songs that weren't as bad, partly because the drums don't sound like somebody banging on a garbage can.
Yes. Boy, the drums on that album were weird.
Oh, that was...
Some of the songs are not bad, but the drums are just...
Yeah.
So it got me thinking, we talked about it last week that they played Frayed Ends of Sanity.
Uh-huh.
Was there any songs, if you had a chance to request, and this was George's Metallica set, that you'd want them to play? I'm not going to put you on the spot, but is there one that you would love for them to play that you know they're not going to go out each show and play?
Well, as I mentioned last time, from Ride the Lightning, I would really love to hear Escape. From Puppets, I'd like to hear Orion, which they did for the Through the They did it for actually it was like at the end of Through the Never. Yeah, I don't know if they ever play it regularly in concert, but I would love to hear that. I'd like to hear Dyer's Eve from Justice. That would be cool.
You know, they played it live on the S&M album, Hero of the Day. They play that more off of, what's that, Reload?
No, that's Offload.
Is that Offload?
That's Offload, yeah, because it doesn't suck quite as much as all the material on Reload.
I like that song.
Oh, yeah. I'm one of those people that I understand that Metallica changed their sound. You know, starting with the Black Album, they went a more commercial direction, but I love everything on the Black Album. Load, I like most of the songs. I mean, like... What's that, like 2x4? Whatever. Ain't My Bitch. I think that's on there too. I'm like, I can, whatever. But Hero of the Day, Outlaw Torn.
Oh, man, yeah.
Mama or Mama Said or whatever it's called. That's a good song. What else is on there? I don't know, but you know, there's some good stuff on there. Reload, not so much. I think Memory Remains is on there. I think that's probably the only song on that album that I liked.
So I just thought that's kind of interesting that they're doing this, you know, by request, and they're not shying away from
that's good
whatever's requested. So that was pretty cool.
Well, you know, they pretty much have this attitude of like, you know, we're Metallica. Fuck you. We're gonna do whatever we want to do, and if you don't like it, tough shit. You know, a million other people love us. I wasn't gonna bring this up, but people have been giving Metallica a lot of shit about the Glastonbury Festival because they're a metal band, because it's typically more of a hippie rock festival. It's been going on for like 44 years or something like that. And Metallica wanted to play...
It's a very new age rock, indie rock thing.
Yeah. And
you're Mumford & Sons.
Yes. And Metallica's like, this is like the one big festival in the world we haven't played yet, so sure, we'll play this. Meanwhile, all the hippies are like outraged, and somebody from the band Mogwai was giving Lars crap, saying what a terrible drummer he was. And
Iron Maiden just came out and said they would never play that festival.
Really?
What it's become, they'll never play it.
Mick Jagger, I was surprised that Mick Jagger turned out to be a Metallica fan. He's like, I heard these guys play and they're really good. So I'm like, well, I don't know if that's like bad for Metallica, or shit, if Mick Jagger said I was good, I'd be thrilled. But and so I don't know, whoever was talking to Lars told Lars about this Mogwai guy's comments, and he was just like, who the hell is this guy?
Who's this guy?
Like, you're a piece of shit. What do I care what you say?
My Black Album...
Are you as famous as Metallica? I don't think so. Fuck you.
My Black Album still sells better than bands releasing new albums today, every week. Yeah. So, piss off.
Yep. All right, one more news item. The former manager of Axl Rose has made a claim that he thinks the original lineup will reunite. This seems pretty unlikely given all of the press that both Axl and Slash have made in the past. Then again, stranger things have happened. People say things terrible about each other all the time, and then next thing you know, they're buddy-buddy and they're on tour together. Would you want to see this, and do you think it would be good?
If it's the Axl Rose that I've heard of and how he is live...
Not so much.
Not so much. It'll be hard for me to pay.
What about an album?
The original lineup, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm torn myself. I never got the chance to see them when they were actually Guns N' Roses, and given the reputation of Axl going on hours late, I wasn't really all that inclined to give it a try anyway. But I do love Appetite for Destruction and Lies and the Illusion albums. And frankly, I don't think any of the people in Guns N' Roses... actually, that's not true. I liked some of the Velvet Revolver. But for the most part, like, obviously Chinese Democracy, that was a stinker. And I don't really care for Slash's solo albums. I mean, they're all right. It's just not really my thing. So I have to wonder if they did get back together, would the magic happen again, and would they come up with just some killer songs? I don't know.
Because you look where their sounds where Axl's evolved to sound-wise with Chinese Democracy. You wonder if they could even get back to writing songs like that again.
Yeah.
You know, you look at what fans were saying about Metallica. Could they capture their sound that they used to have prior to the Black Album stuff?
Yeah,
They seem to have maybe found their way back to it on Death Magnetic. So
this is true.
if Metallica could do it, GNR could possibly do it too.
This is true.
But just like I said, the way they are going on live and stuff like that, I take a lot for me to... Definitely if it was the opening night of the tour, I don't think I'd be there.
No. All right, well, I expect we're probably not going to find out anyway. It's probably just this guy's trying to drum up some publicity for himself and, get in the news, and it's probably all bullshit, but I guess we'll see. All right, well, as far as new releases go this week, there wasn't really much that caught my eye. There's a new live album from Fintroll, which, I don't know about you, but I think Fintroll's pretty good. No idea what they're saying, but, as far as being a cool band, folk metal band, they're pretty cool.
Funny you mention them, too. I saw this on the list. I have a hard time, great music, but I have a hard time getting into bands that I can't understand what they're saying.
Yeah.
Even, not like, some black metal stuff where the lyrics are so rough. It's when it's in a different language like that, like...
Yeah, it's funny. I kind of give myself a hard time because there are black metal bands that I listen to that, without a lyric sheet, I have no idea what they're saying. Yet I dig them. So why won't I listen to a band that's singing in another language in a harsh vocal that I can't even tell they're not singing in English, But for whatever reason, I have this thing in my head that just says, that's not in English, I don't want to listen to it. And that's not a hard and fast rule. There are bands, like Fintroll is a prime example of a band that I will listen to, even though they're not singing in English. The other album this week that caught my eye, and I just actually got a promo for it, so that's kind of what brought it to my attention, is the band Wofat and their new album, The Conjuring. They're a stoner, doom, sludgy kind of band, and I haven't really listened to them much in the past, but I did listen a little bit to this promo, and it piqued my interest enough that I am going to go back and finish the album at some point.
I keep passing on their vinyl at the store downtown.
Yep, down there at Record Exchange. Yeah, it's the one with the green album cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
I didn't know what it was. I may go back and grab it now.
Yeah, you might like it. All right, so what have you been listening to this week?
So this week, I've been listening to a band by the name of Orchid. Mm-hmm. This band, let me just come out and say, they wear their inspiration on their sleeve.
Their fringed leather jacket sleeve.
Yes. Yes. If looking at these guys, you could ask yourself, are they a cover band? They are almost Sabbath.
Oh, yeah.
Copied.
Very doom influenced.
Very, very, very. But like a Ghost in the sense that their lyrics are very evil.
Really? I haven't noticed that.
Very, very much so.
Huh.
So it's, again, very 70s doomy Sabbath, early Sabbath type of sound to them.
Which album was this?
This is their Capricorn.
Okay, Capricorn. Yeah, album. That's the one I'm pretty familiar with.
Yep. So that's what I've been listening to this week. Again, Orchid Capricorn. If you like Sabbath, early Sabbath, if you like doomy stuff, give it a listen.
Excellent. My band is from Germany, and this is their 2012 album, The Invocation. This is the band Attic. These guys are a dead ringer for King Diamond, like circa 1987. When I first heard this album, I kind of chuckled, and I was like, really? You're going to go there? You're going to do that?
Now, is he like high-pitched vocals like Cam from 3 Inches?
It's like falsetto, like total King Diamond style falsetto. I mean, if it came on the radio, I was like, oh, what album's that from? It is, when you hear something like this, you can go two ways with it. You can either be like, that's a total ripoff, there's nothing original here, you suck. Or you can go the path that I took, which is, you don't really hear this style too much anymore, and it's a really cool style. King Diamond hasn't been too active lately because of his health problems. I'm cool with hearing this music that sounds kind of like King Diamond, and they do it well.
Captured me with 3 Inches of Blood.
And they do it well, so I highly recommend giving Attic a listen, their album, The Invocation.
I'm typing it in my phone right now.
Excellent. So why don't we get into this week's unsigned band?
I'm liking these guys.
This is the band Maelstrom from Scotland. If you go onto the metalarchives.com website and look up Maelstrom, you get 27 bands back. And I know I've heard a couple of these other bands before. So if you're going to look this up, make sure you look up the Maelstrom from Scotland. This is their second album called Sunlight. Their first album, called The Shores at Dawn, is also good. You can pick that up on Bandcamp, so make sure to check that out. These guys play, I like to think of it as a progressive black metal. They call it melodic black metal, I think. I call it progressive because it's more forward-thinking than the traditional old-school black metal style. It has a nice production. The vocals are, they're harsh and growly, yet there's clean vocals too.
Yeah, I described it like before we started recording today. It's the clean vocal styling, the singing style is a lot like Scar Symmetry. Mm-hmm. If you've heard their kind of clean singing like that off the first album. A really interesting sound that these guys have.
Yeah, I totally fell for these guys as soon as I heard this song, and this is the song I'm going to play for you now. It's the album's title cut, Sunlight. All right, what do you think of that?
Love it.
How you like them apples?
That song captured me when I first heard it.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Stick around towards the end of the show, and we'll play another song from the album for you. So I was driving home from the gym the other day, and I was listening to actually it wasn't Liquid Metal, it was probably Boneyard. And the song by Nazareth, Hair of the Dog, the song where he's like, now you're messing with a son of a bitch. Yeah, I can't sing it, you know. But it's like the Nazareth song, although I guess Love Hurts is probably the one that everybody knows. But this is the other one everybody knows, Hair of the Dog. And, you know, I was driving down the road, windows down, cranking this tune, bobbing my head, just getting my groove on. And it occurred to me that while I certainly like where heavy music and metal has evolved and what it's become, I love the aggression. I kind of miss songs that have that just fun head bobbing groove like you get from like 70s hard rock, arena rock bands. There's still rock bands that aren't metal bands these days, but they kind of suck. Mm-hmm. I mean, I honestly don't listen to much of anything at all. Mumford & Sons, but they're not that kind of band. And so, you know, it's just kind of a bummer that, you know, the Nazareths, the Led Zeppelins, you just don't get that kind of cool riffage anymore. Now it's all fast and technical and tight, or it's just huge chords and fuzz. And
it's I described it when we were going out to the record store a couple weeks ago. We mentioned this, that you don't get that fist pumping, that cool riff, and you just
pull out your lighter and, you know.
Yes.
There's something to be said for that it just doesn't, you don't get that anymore. Any of the like Lynyrd Skynyrd type stuff, or, you know.
I think that's what's happening to me in my, you know, listening right now, that since I've gone back and really getting into vinyl, since I'm going out and buying all these 70s, 80s records, I think that's really influencing my metal listening right now, because I'm liking a lot of these bands that are going back to just that, hey, let's cut out the vocals for a couple minutes
and jam.
Let's just jam. Yeah. Exactly. Then they get in that cool groove, and you're like, man, that's a cool riff.
Yeah, but we don't want to, you know, that ultimately that ends up leading to like Fish and Grateful Dead. We don't want those kind of jams.
No, you're right. Yes, we don't want that. Yes, we don't need like a Neil Peart drum solo for 25 minutes.
Right. This sort of leads me into my next topic. This may be less prevalent for you because you're not as old as me, but when you get to be a certain age, you kind of notice that the people that you grew up with, the people that you've known for 20 years, some of them still listen to that same music that they listened to in high school. And I still listen to the music that I listened to in high school. But I've continually picked up new music along the way.
Not me.
Right, not you. But I know people from my hometown, from the high school days, that when, you know, if you talk to them about music, they're like, yeah, man, I was just listening to that AC/DC album. And, you know, maybe you look through their collection and it's really all the same stuff. Maybe they've upgraded from cassette to CD, but it's still the same old stuff. And it's kind of like my parents, you know, they listen to the music from like the 60s, maybe the early 70s that they knew, and they never evolved past that. And that's probably the way most people are.
It's funny you say that. My mom, the Eagles.
Yeah.
She will go to the Eagles and keep going back to that time and time and time again.
And there's nothing wrong with this. It's just something interesting that I noticed, that I think the majority of people, unless they're hardcore music fans,
they don't seek out
new music. They listen to the stuff that reminds them of when they were young. And they don't necessarily care about new music because it doesn't sound like that stuff that they grew up listening to.
What an interesting point you bring up. What a great point. Because I look at my parents. Again, my mom with the Eagles, there's millions of bands she can pick from now. But like when her iPhone, she just got Spotify last week. What did she load it up with? Eagles.
Yep.
Billy Joel. Stuff that she was listening to in the 70s and 80s.
Exactly. And I'm not trying to say that, you know, these people that they're doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
It's, you know, you like what you like. But it was just interesting to me because I actually noticed this at a relatively young age by watching my parents, and, you know, they didn't like any of the music that was on the radio when I was a kid. And I was like, well, you know, that's old people, you know, bah. But that made me think, well, I don't want to be like that. I don't ever want to stop evolving in my musical taste. I always want to listen to what's coming out new, and I always have. Granted, I don't listen to the rock music or the pop music that's coming out now, but I'm still always looking for new music. I don't want to just sit back
And sit idle on the...
on the things that I already have.
And it's funny, too, knowing you, you've been my best friend now for 12, 13 years, or longer, 13, 14 years. Even in that time, I haven't even seen you get hooked on a band and
just stay there.
Just stay there. Like, I know when we first met, Manowar, big fan of Manowar, but I've never really known you, hey, I'm still in the Manowar phase. I'm not listening to anything else. You know what I'm saying?
I'm in all of these bands' phases. You know? I'm like hurtling through space, and metal is just coming at me, and I'm like, zip, there's some Manowar, there's some Iron Maiden, look, Black Sabbath over there. It's just, whatever happens to come up, whatever I feel like listening to that day. Obviously, most of the time, I'm looking for new bands, new albums, but, sometimes, particularly like if I'm driving in the car, I want to hear something familiar.
Do you think that was because maybe some people, their exposure to new music was just the radio,
Could
TV?
Be. Sure.
So that's at that time when they were really getting into music.
And,
and not being real big into music.
Yeah, they're music is not as big a part of their lives as, say, their job or their family or their friends or some other type of hobby. Music is just something that you put on in the background or you listen to it in the car.
I think, obviously, you and I, for us to be sitting here doing a podcast about it, for us to be going to record stores, reading blogs online about it, music is a big interest to us.
It's what we do.
And I don't even play an instrument.
It's funny. I was at Jersey Mike's picking up some lunch today, and I'm wearing one of the Metal Disciple t-shirts. And the guy who was getting ready to make my sandwich smiles at me, and he's like, "Metal Disciple, I know those guys." And it threw me back for a second. I was like, wait a minute, somebody saw the site? Wait, what? And apparently the guys there that had been having some sort of conversation about music, and he was trying to sound knowledgeable. He wasn't like being serious, like, oh yeah, I know that band, like, like a poser or something. It was just sort of a joking, oh yeah, I know these guys, see, I know this band. And I was like, well, actually, it's not a band, it's a website. And then his buddies were all like, oh, calling him out. And I tried to help him out a little. I was like, well, it is a website about music, but,
At least he got recognized.
Yeah. Well, he didn't really know. He saw the thing and figured it was a band.
It's a cool shirt. If, by the way, you're listening to this and you want the Metal Disciple shirt, go on the website and check it out. George had pretty nice shirts made up with the new logo. It's really slick.
Yeah, they're not for sale, though, so you can't get one.
I thought you could. I'm sorry.
No, not really.
Never mind, disregard that. I thought you could.
I wanted to get it set up so that people could, but it really has to be like on an item-by-item basis because nobody wants them. So if I go with one site, they're like $30 a shirt. Nobody wants to pay that. If I go with another site, I'd have to like order like 20 of them myself and hope that they sell, and I can't afford to do that either. So if you are interested, though, get a hold of me and I'll see if I can work something out. I got a couple different designs.
They're really cool.
Back to what we were just talking about people's musical tastes. Personally, my tastes have changed quite a bit over the years. Obviously, in the early 80s, in terms of metal, I was listening to stuff pre-thrash. So there was that Twisted Sister, Black Sabbath, Van Halen kind of stuff. And then Metallica came along, and Megadeth, and Slayer, and Anthrax, and Exodus, and all those bands. And my taste had to evolve a little bit to get into that. And then in the 90s, death metal came to prominence, black metal, and my tastes evolved again. And so over the years, I feel like my taste is constantly changing. What I didn't like last year, I might like next year. And because of this, I've put my foot in my mouth a few times over the years. There's bands that I've just totally trashed as being horrible that at some point then I quietly changed my mind and I just stopped talking about them because I like them now. A few examples. Ahab. Hated them when their first album came out. Thought the production was terrible. Didn't get the Funeral Doom thing. I hated it. They were one of my go-to bands to slag on. The Giant came out. I think I got a promo for it. And I was like, oops. And so now I'm a huge Ahab fan. One of my favorite bands these days. Another example. Baroness. I don't love these guys.
Hey, well, I remember when we and I both saw them live.
We didn't see Baroness.
I did. With Opeth.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry. I saw them live.
We saw Mastodon with Opeth.
No, I saw Baroness also open up for... Remember, I've seen Opeth live 14 times.
Right. All right. Well, I'd heard Baroness before, and I was like, I don't see what the big deal is. And so they were one of the bands that I would slag on, be like, they're not metal, they suck. I don't know why anybody likes them. I still don't really consider them metal, and I know they don't consider themselves metal anymore anyway, but they are still pretty cool. Mastodon.
This is my big one.
I know you really like Mastodon.
But I, at one time, hated them when they first came out.
I did too. Well,
Absolutely hated them.
much like Ahab, I hated early Mastodon because I thought the production sounded so horrible that I was like, these guys are good if they would just record a better sounding album. Then when Crack the Sky came out, I was like, hey, better production. Oh, look at that. They're doing some clean vocals too. And I was like, okay, this could be good. And then I believe the one after that is The Hunter. And I fucking hate that album. I still hate that. I still hate that album. Curl of the Burl or whatever it's called. That is the least heterosexual song that is metal that I know. It is a horrible song. So I can still bash on them for their newer material, and I haven't liked anything that I've heard off the new album yet. But I have grown to like the earlier albums now. So
Leviathan and all them are really good.
So I'm laying off them for the most part, and who knows, maybe even Curl of the Burl will grow on me at some point.
Well, we talked about this in our first episode. When I had a friend in high school, before I really got big into music even. I was a freshman or so in high school. I remember I went over to his house and I saw both their album. And being a Warhammer fan, I said, hey, I'll put this on. Horrendous. Hated it.
Yeah.
Hey, what the hell is this? Turn this noise off.
Yep.
Here I am, 20 years later, massive Bolt Thrower fan.
Yep.
Now, my musical tastes have not evolved to I'll make it known once again, I don't like black metal.
Yeah.
True black metal, I should say.
I'm a big Dark Throne fan.
Yeah, like, Dimmu and stuff, I like. True.
The pretty symphonic stuff you like.
Yeah.
I like the gritty, raw stuff.
Immortal, their most recent stuff, not bad, I can get into. But, your true black metal, I still can't.
You'll get there.
Into.
You'll get there.
So
once you got your big boy metal pants on, you'll eventually get it.
But, like, hey, you mentioned Ahab. I'm not saying I never hated the funeral thing, but when
You didn't get it. I remember you didn't get it.
I just didn't get it.
I was going crazy for it, and you're like, whatever.
Yeah. Now I'm loving it.
One of the most recent bands that I've changed my tune for is Neurosis. I bought their, I think it was Through Silver and Blood album when that came out, because it was reviewed well. And this was, like early mid-90s. And I hated it. I was like, what the hell is this? It was awful. And I think I picked up the next album after that. I think it was Times of Grace. And I still didn't get it. I was like, I don't know. And I just, for years and years, badmouthed Neurosis while they just became more and more legendary. And with their last album that came out, I was like, I'm listening to Ahab and a lot of sludge and stuff like that. Maybe I should give this a listen again. And I started listening back to some of the old albums, even the ones that I had originally bought. And it's kind of cool now. So when you hear something and you think that you hate it, reserve judgment, because you never know. It might end up being something that you enjoy. You just haven't figured out how to enjoy it yet.
That's a great way to put it. That's a wonderful way to put it.
I've been proven wrong time and time again.
And please, if you have any stories yourself about something that's, you hated and you didn't like at first, share it with us. Send us an email, send us a tweet. Let us know something you've come around on. Maybe open our eyes or something.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's move on to our favorite 3 segment.
My favorite.
We're doing something a little different this week. Instead of picking 3 albums from a band, we're going to do our 3 favorite live albums, since I know you love live albums so much, as well as our 3 favorite metal concerts and our 3 favorite non-metal concerts. And I'll explain why we're doing non-metal concerts later. So hit me with your first 3 live albums.
Well, I'm going to say this. I'm going to do an asterisk. And this is my favorite album, period. It's a live album.
Of all time, of any album whatsoever.
It's not metal. Alice in Chains Unplugged. Since we're talking live albums, I'm just going to put it out there. That's my favorite album of all time. But the emotion you hear in that album, to me, is so second to none. But I'll stay on topic here. Top 3 live albums. Number 3 is Metallica, Binge and Purge.
Okay.
It's just something about that period Metallica live. Just, it captures them on stage.
I really like Through the Never. I think it was just a great recording of, some of their classic songs. And when you were saying that, it occurred to me that maybe I should have put that in my top 3, but I didn't.
My number 2 is Opeth, the Roundhouse Tapes.
I kind of figured you were going to go with that one somewhere.
Reason being, they play the critically acclaimed, their masterpiece, if I put it, Blackwater Park, start to finish.
Nice.
On the first half of that concert.
Yeah.
Amazing. Every track on that album, to hear them perform it live is great. And then they go back on the second part of that show. Then they play a different song from each album.
Cool.
Orchid, My Arms Are Hers, boom, all the way through.
Right on.
Great show. And my number one live album, we touched on it a couple weeks back, Sentenced.
That's what I thought.
Again, to have a band choose when to end it all, when they wanted to go out in their eyes on top, is just something that I recommend. If you have never heard this album, try and go online, find the show on live, Buried Alive. Again, Sentenced, Buried Alive is the album. Try and go online, find a copy of the DVD. It's on YouTube. Try and watch it before just going out and listening to the CD, because when you see the emotion from Villa, it just makes it my number one live album, because you see these guys, they're happy, they're excited, the fans are into it. You know, at the end of it, he's almost in tears.
Right. I know I was in tears when they ended. All right. Well, I'm going to do my top 3 live metal albums, and then we'll just sort of go back and forth with each of these categories. So my number 3, this is going to come way out of left field. You're going to be like, what? My number 3 metal live album, Emperor Live Inferno. Didn't see that one coming, did you?
No.
It's more of a recent thing. You know, like I said, I could have put Metallica in there had I thought about it. I was just going with what I've really been digging. I'm not a big live album person, but I never got to see Emperor live, and it bugs me because when I first moved to Maryland from Michigan, within, I don't know, the first year or two that I was here, I saw that they were playing at Jack's, but I had yet to find out where Jack's is. I've been there many times over the years since then, but at the time it was down in Virginia. It's like an hour and change drive. I didn't know where it was. I knew they were playing. I didn't know you yet, so yeah. I didn't have anybody to go with, and I was just like, meh, I'll catch them next time. Whoops. No next time.
No next time.
So
kind of like me and Iced Earth.
Yeah. Live Inferno is just a brilliant recording of classic Emperor material. So if you haven't heard that, check it out. My number 2, Sentenced, Buried Alive.
Good boy.
You know, it's one of my favorite bands of all time, and all I can do is second everything you've already said. It's a killer album. My number 1, do you have any guesses? I've mentioned my number 1.
Iron Maiden.
Live After Death.
Yes.
That's right. My number 1, Live After Death. It was probably one of my first live albums that I ever got. I had it on cassette back in the day. Then I got it on CD. Now I have it on vinyl. It's just a killer show from a classic Iron Maiden period. Plus, I liked having some of the Paul Di'Anno material sung by Bruce, Running Free, stuff like that. It's just, if there's a live album that I want to hear, it's Live After Death. All right, so top 3 metal shows.
Number 3, I've seen them 14 times live. Opeth.
They're not number 1. Wow. Call Mike.
They're number 3 because seeing them so many times, there's been various times over the years. I've seen them on the Damnation tour when they just played all acoustic stuff. I've seen them the first time, it was 2001, 2002, played their early stuff. So it was cool that as Opeth has evolved over the years, their set has evolved to kind of fit that.
You even got to interview Mike. Well, we interviewed Mike before our show.
So it's great seeing Opeth live. Anytime I go, I will go wherever it takes to see them. Okay. Number 2 is you and I were for this one. My only time ever getting to see Dio. Mm-hmm. We saw Heaven and Hell live.
Right on. I was considering that one.
I don't think it hit me at the time.
Of course not. Dio was alive.
Yeah, I don't think it really hit me what I was seeing. That was Dio with Sabbath.
Yeah. For me, I had seen Dio a couple times previously. So for me, that show was like Tony Iommi, Geezer Butler.
Yeah, I was just about to say something like that too, is that it's Dio, it's Iommi, it's Geezer, it's Bill Ward, Vinny on drums.
That was Vinny, yeah.
Yeah. It's just, playing their Sabbath songs. They were playing, the new stuff that they had written. He sounded
amazing.
Like a god. Just amazing. Again, I don't think at the time when we left what we were really seeing.
Yeah.
There was no special pyrotechnics,
the stage show was kind of cool, but it wasn't over the top.
Yeah, it wasn't one of those things that you're leaving. You're like, oh shit, the stage show. It's just an amazing show.
Yeah.
And my number 1, kind of funny story that goes with this. My number 1 is actually the second time I saw Pantera live.
Okay.
The first time I saw Pantera was with one of my other best friends, a guy by the name of Matt. It was 2000, I'm sorry. And it was on Ozfest. Mm-hmm. We had been so excited to see Pantera at Ozfest. This was right around when Reinventing the Steel came out. So we go to Ozfest. Matt's drinking the whole day, gets drunk, passes out before Pantera, like he said he had planned on doing.
Whoops.
Yeah.
Wait, he planned to pass out before Pantera?
Yeah, he planned to drink a lot, pass out, wake up before Pantera. He did it.
Oh, okay. So he was awake when they came on.
But Phil wasn't.
Oh, no.
This is when Phil was
Nodding out?
the long beard. Phil, long, like I'm talking like down to his chest, long hair, he came out on stage, with a handle of Jack Daniels, was so pissed drunk, fell back into the drum riser, was like 30 seconds behind the rest of the band on lyrics and everything. It was just a total disaster.
Now, let me just be clear. We're talking best metal shows, not worst, right?
No, I'm telling you that. So leaving that, I was like, what the fuck did I just see? This is my favorite band of all time, and Phil's fall down drunk, making an ass of himself. Luckily, the next year, or maybe, next year.
Oh, that was the first time you saw them?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
That's what makes this the best time. The first time I saw them, I'm kind of like stupefied. Like, what did I just see?
Yeah.
So then I see them the next time on this Reinventing the Steel tour. Soulfly, Nothing Face, Morbid Angel. Mm-hmm. Drive up to Philly to see them. Amazing. Yeah. Amazing show. They are on their game. Everything. Remember, they have this big black tarp covering the stage. The song Hellbound starts. The guitars winkle, 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 winkle. The curtain drops. The fucking strobes are going off. The Pantera sign goes up in flames. Dime comes out. They are on the ball. They're amazing. Gives me goosebumps now thinking about it.
Nice.
I see them 3 days later in Towson. This time I bring my little brother. He gets to see his first concert. It happens to be Pantera. It's my best concert experience ever.
Right on.
Making up for the horrendous experience seeing Pantera. And it's still my number one because I could say that I got to see
You got to see Dime.
I got to see Dime. I got to see Pantera.
Yeah. All right. Well, my top 3 metal shows.
This is probably my most exciting list. This part right here, I want to see yours.
All right. It's a little varied. My number 3 is the Typo Negative Life of Agony show that I saw in Flint, Michigan with Josh and Chris, if you're listening. Hell yeah, you remember. You know what I'm talking about. This was at I can't remember the name of the place. It was like the Capitol Ballroom or something like that, or the something ball. I don't know. It was like I don't know. We never actually went in past the lobby because they set up and played in the lobby.
Wow.
And so it was this really intimate show.
Is it like Cafe 311 downtown? Small little intimate thing like that?
Well, but it was more like going to the movie theater and watching them play in the lobby there.
Okay.
It was just standing, and this was on the Bloody Kisses River Runs Red tour. I mean,
wow. That's a great tour.
That was just unfucking believable. I always like to tell the story from there where before they played Black Number 1, Pete gets up on the microphone and he's like, I wrote 4 notes and I made $1 million. Next time I'm going to write 8. It was just hilarious. It's sad that Peter's not with us any longer, but he left us some great music and he left me a great concert memory. My number 2, anything Iron Maiden. Actually, I have to clarify that. Anything Iron Maiden with Bruce Dickinson. I did see them on a Blaze Bayley show for the X Factor. No. But particularly the last couple times we've seen Maiden, like on the Somewhere Back in Time.
We've seen them, I think, 3 times together.
Yeah. Is there a better heavy metal show and stage show than Iron Maiden? Come on. You know, with all the different eddies and the backdrops and the British flag.
Bruce is running 100 miles an hour the whole time.
Probably the greatest live heavy metal band ever.
Stephen Harris singing along to every song.
Oh, yeah. Anything Iron Maiden. As long as Bruce is there. I'm not trying to knock Paul Di'Anno, but I never got to see him with Paul Di'Anno. Those might have been some good shows, too. Some little Phantom of the Opera action. My number 1 show. I wonder what it is.
Yes.
Wasn't even the headlining band. The headlining band, I believe, was In Flames.
Yes.
But who was I there to see?
Sentenced. You probably were the only one.
I was the only one there. This was the show at Jack's in Springfield, Virginia, and I went solely to see Sentenced, though I hadn't seen In Flames before. I wanted to see them. Dark Tranquillity was there, and Killswitch Engage. You were a Killswitch fan. I wasn't really. I still am not really a Killswitch fan. But Sentenced opened the show, which was just tragic because they didn't get to play nearly as long as I felt they should have. But that is such a rare thing to have been able to see Sentenced play.
I still tell people today, I remember looking over to my buddy, seeing a little twinkle in his eye.
That's because I was bawling.
Yes.
I was crying my eyes out because it was so emotional to see these guys play, and, like, so close. And it burns my ass that pretty much everybody there but me stood there with their hands at their sides and just gaped at the band because they didn't know who they were. And I'm like singing along with all the songs.
I remember you had given me like the Cold White Light like a week before the show or something like that. And you know how when you try and quickly ingest...
I'm pretty sure this was the Crimson tour, so I don't think Cold White Light was out yet. The only reason... it's hard to say because I was trying to figure that out, but I bought a Crimson shirt at the show.
You did.
But I don't know. I don't think because Cold Light...
This was like 05 or 06, right? 04?
I don't know. I thought it was earlier than that.
Because In Flames was on their Reroute to Remain tour. Because I remember they were wearing, all the white...
Yeah, maybe they just
suits.
had Crimson stuff for sale. I don't know. Yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe it was Cold White Light. It had to be.
It was because he played Excuse Me While I Kill Myself.
That's right. You are right. Okay. I don't know why they had Crimson shirts for sale. Anyway, he's singing. I'm singing. I wasn't quite in the front row. I was probably like 4 or 5 people back from the front of the stage. And, I'm singing along with every song. Everybody around me is just like, duh. And so, of course, he's singing. He sees me singing. And he, like, reaches out over the crowd. And he's like, got that, like, heavy metal, like, claw thing where it's like, upside down spider. And he's, like, singing to me. And I'm like
the Sistine Chapel. Like the picture?
Yes, of like God and Adam.
Yeah.
Yes, and I'm like reaching out to him over the crowd, and we didn't touch, but we made eye contact and we sang together. I could have just died right then.
Yes. Boy, you were so happy.
Oh, it was just so amazing. They sounded brilliant.
They sounded amazing.
And everybody else there that didn't know what they were watching were fools.
And the biggest regret, I didn't know any better at the time, because when you quickly try and ingest, sure. You can't ingest and like a band that quick. But I tried, and now I'm a massive Sentence fan, and of course they would never come around again. And
nope,
just that one show we have. And
it's funny because the Jack's house guy came over the PA after they had finished playing. And they told everybody, hey, hope you liked Sentenced. We're going to try and bring them back for a headlining tour. And I was like, yes! Alas, it never happened.
Never happened. Boy, that was a great memory.
Yeah, I love telling that story.
So if you ever need to get, like, the ceiling painted here, we know.
That is a good idea.
Photoshop it.
Yeah. All right, so next up we're going to do our top 3 non-metal shows. And I'll explain why I wanted to do this when I get to mine. So let's start with you.
I had a hard time really pinning 3 because I really
don't go to
many shows that aren't metal.
I know you've been to some shows with your mom.
I was just about to say, I took my mom to see Bon Jovi.
Mm-hmm.
This was can't remember the album.
Back in the 80s, Suicidal Tendencies would wear hats with the bill flipped up and they'd have like slogans on there. And in high school, I had one that I took a hat and I wrote Kill Bon Jovi on there.
Nice.
Because I saw it like on a Metallica guitar or something.
Nice.
And I wore that around school. And it was, some people were like, yeah. And most people were like, you're an asshole.
This was like 2005, 2006 at the Verizon Center. I'll give it to him. He still gets 50-year-old ladies getting turned on.
Yeah.
These, him and Richie up on stage, they played for close to 3 hours. Yeah, it's not bad. It's obvious why they're so successful.
Yeah.
It was just special to, go with mom.
Yeah.
And take her to a show.
Right on.
So that was one of them.
Okay. What's another?
HF festivals growing up here.
Okay.
Here in the DC metro area, there used to be a radio station, 99.1 WHFS, that every, Memorial Day or every late May would put on a music festival. And this was right around the time we were in high school. And this radio station, I should say, would get probably 40, 50 bands to come out and play.
Yeah, I remember.
So I remember in one day, we would see, this before they were all making a big, Stain, Godsmack, Rage Against the Machine, Lincoln Park and stuff. Just your classic festival.
Okay.
And it was just great to be there in high school because, I wasn't at the time, but, everybody's drinking, partying, having fun. You're on the field. I have a real love for stadium concerts, just looking around, people are surrounded.
I didn't think of that. I actually went to one of the early Lollapaloozas in like 93, 90, somewhere around there. Saw Rage, Tool for Undertow.
Wow.
And, of course, Alice in Chains.
Wow.
And that was a great set.
Wow. So, was it in a stadium?
Yeah, and that was out at the Michigan International Speedway.
Okay. Wow. Were you sitting in the stadium?
No, it was
in the infield?
Well, I don't recall seeing the racetrack itself. It was just,
maybe on the grounds?
Yeah, just on the grounds.
Interesting. So that was cool. Just all those bands that you'd see, and like Seven Dust. It was cool seeing 30 bands. The highlight of that show was Tenacious D.
Right on.
Was there one year, so that was really cool.
Okay, so what's your number one?
For lack of something coming to mind, it was the HF Festival shows. So it's probably 2 and 1.
Lame.
I'll admit, I don't go to shows that aren't.
You're just so much more metal than me. All right, well, let's get into my top 3. The reason that I did this was I was thinking about my top 3 metal shows. I was going back through all the shows that I had seen, and there was a show that just blew me away. Was incredible. Like, you don't see shows like this, and it wasn't heavy metal. And so I was like, well, I want to include this. I want to pay respect to this. So that's why I said let's do the top 3 non-metal shows. But that's my number 1, so let me get through the other ones first. My number 3, I actually did a 3/4. Nirvana on the In Utero tour.
Wow.
It was the last tour before Kurt killed himself.
Wow.
It was pretty awesome. Sounded amazing. At the end of the show, during the encore, I don't know what happened, but Kurt got pissy, threw his guitar down on the stage in the middle of a song, walked off. The other guys are standing there playing, going,
Never knew you saw them.
And then, the lights came on and they went off stage. And
was it a small club?
No, it was at the Michigan State Fairgrounds, I believe. So it was like some sort of arena on the facility. And 6 months later, he was dead.
Wow.
My /4 would be Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds, who I've been a Nick Cave fan for a good decade or more. Actually, more than a decade, because I had tickets to see him around 9/11, and it was canceled because of 9/11. So, been a fan of his for quite a while. Finally got to see him last year with my best friend from Michigan, also George. Incredible show. My number 2...
Let me get back to him for a second. Does he always wear that suit? I've seen a couple times I see him live. He's wearing like that 70s, whatever those suits are called. Bell bottoms and, the big collar.
I don't know. I never really thought about it. I mean, it does sound right.
Yeah.
But I never really pay attention to what he wears. My number 2 is Leonard Cohen at Merriweather Post Pavilion back in 2009. I bet you don't even know what Leonard Cohen sounds like.
Nope.
Dude is the voice, man. He is incredible singer. Kind of a, like late 60s, early 70s folk singer, maybe. But a little more than a folk singer. I mean, he did some acoustic stuff, but then later on in the 70s, it was a little more, I want to say rock, but I don't know. His voice, though, is just amazing. The one song that a lot of people know is Everybody Knows. It's been covered by a few bands, like Concrete Blonde covered it.
Everybody knows you're a girl for going to this?
What?
So everybody knows you're a girl for going to this?
Well, it was mostly a lot of older people, but much like Nick Cave and Tom Waits, well, Tom Waits is a special case, I just love Leonard Cohen's voice. And I actually got into him because of Nirvana, because Kurt had made reference to Leonard Cohen in a song, and I was like, well, who's Leonard Cohen? And I went and listened, and I was like, oh, I get it.
Obviously, if he's filling that venue, he's something.
Yeah. Well, his song, the song that everybody knows, it's Hallelujah. Nobody knows.
I've probably heard it, right?
I'm sure you've heard it. They play it all over the place. Everybody in the world has covered it. Most of the time when you hear it, it's not him singing it, but it is a great song. The reason that I went with a non-metal top 3 was Roger Waters and The Wall. I saw Pink Floyd back on the Division Bell tour without Roger Waters, of course, and that was an amazing show. But my favorite Pink Floyd album has always been The Wall. And when Roger Waters came around a couple years ago doing
Verizon Center?
It was at Verizon Center. When he toured The Wall, it was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen. I mean, throughout the whole show, they actually were building a wall on the stage. By the end of the show, there was this giant wall across this the stage, and, you know, you couldn't see them anymore. They were behind the wall. They were on the other side of the wall. It's, you know, plays into the whole theme of the album. And, you know, at some point they like knock out some blocks and you can see them standing up in their plane. And at some point, I believe Roger and the guitar player were on top of the wall singing down, and all the imagery. And like they took an intermission, and during the intermission they would shine photos on the wall. And they were family members of of audience members who had sent in pictures of family members who had died in war, be it recent or World War II or whatever. And just little, like, a photo and a little bit of information, their name and what happened. And it was moving. And the songs are just incredible. I left that show just mind blown. One of the greatest shows I've probably ever seen.
I remember seeing video from what you're talking about, you know, when they were advertising that tour. It looked amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The only other one that maybe jumps out at me, a great experience, that I mean, it shows you how nerdy I am here, when you and I saw Star Wars live.
Yeah.
That was a pretty cool experience.
That was cool.
That was just cool.
All right, well, why don't we wrap up with our classics for this week?
So I was cataloging my vinyl collection the other day, and I got to my S's. And I thought, hey, when I put this in, I haven't really listened to this before a lot. So I pulled out Sanctuary, Refuge Denied.
Refuge Denied. Battle Angels!
Yes. This was interesting. You know, if you never heard this, it's thrash, but a little different twist on it with the kind of high-pitched vocals that it's
an 80s
Worrell
thing.
puts on. Yeah, it's 80s thing. It's kind of layered vocals produced by Dave.
Die for My Sins.
Yeah, so that's my classic this week. So if you're a fan of, you know, Worrell's later stuff with Nevermore, give it a listen.
If you like this one, you can also check out the second Sanctuary album, Into the Mirror Black. That's also a great album. Slightly more evolved than the first one, but they're both killer. I thought I heard that Worrell was back with Sanctuary and that they were going to do something new, but nothing ever seemed to have come of that.
Nothing ever came of that. I love his voice, so.
Yeah, killer. My classic this week is also from the S section. This is Satyricon and their first album from 1994. This is Dark Medieval Times. This is a classic of the early 90s black metal, and one of the first to include folk elements. The title track, Dark Medieval Times, has like some flute music in there, and you know, it's prevalent in music these days, but at the time it was not really something you did with metal. Metal was metal, and that was it. I just love, I love everything Satyricon's done. Even Rebel Extravaganza. A lot of people give them shit they think they've sold out, whatever. You know, they've evolved over the years. What are you going to do? But Dark Medieval Times, classic black metal album. I love the guitar sound. It's so raw, so very typical of what was good about early 90s black metal. Gotta love it. If you haven't heard it, check it out. All right, well, we better wrap things up. As usual, I'm going to say you should go and subscribe to us on iTunes, or you can go stream the podcast at wearemetalheads.com. We're also on Stitcher. You can check us out on Facebook. I'm on Twitter as Disciple of Metal.
And I'm on Twitter at Opeth Fan. Again, Opeth Fan.
And you can get a hold of either of us at Metalheads Pod. You can also hear the podcasts on YouTube, as well as some of the other videos that I do for Metal Disciple. Check out metaldisciple.com for written reviews, video reviews, news, what have you. And of course, as always, please let us know what you think of the podcast or anything else.
And barring Baby Watch 2014, we'll be back soon.
Yes. Let's close things out with a second song from Maelstrom. This is the song Liberate Me Ex Inferis. Check it out.